Oh, I'm on. Hello, I'm back. It's me, just Dylan today. Zach is taking a well-earned break, so I am going to fill in with a brief episode where I continue this series on writing screenplays. Now, I'm not an authority on screenplays. I don't have any published. I haven't sold any. I've written one short film that we're currently having in post-production right now. So, take from this what you will. My goal with this kind of series is that it is going to be for people who want to see that your first draft is going to be garbage, because my first drafts are garbage. And this is to help you realize that your first draft is not going to be perfect, and it shouldn't be. And we are just going to be getting words down for the sake of putting words down. Now, the idea behind this is that I'm writing a screenplay inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. It's no straight adaptation of the franchise because I think that's impossible, but it is a story idea that Zach and I developed for a series called Remake Revolution, where several different podcast teams had to get together, remake some movies, and pitch them. And we had to do story, teams, cast, that sort of thing. The ultimate one at the end was the Dungeons and Dragons movie, which, if you've seen it in the past, is with Jeremy Irons. And a fun time. So this is just my take on a D&D movie, nothing special about it, really. You can just hang out, ask me anything in the comments, in the chat, wherever. I hope that I will see it. Now, the issue is sometimes StreamYard does not actually show your comments on here, so you do have to go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, give it permission, but there we are. So, without further ado, here's the screenplay as it stands. Now, what we did, we kind of created it was not a straight adaptation or remake of the D&D movie plot, because ultimately that plot was pretty generic. What I think is important about doing a true Dungeons and Dragons movie is that you need to capture the camaraderie of the table in the way the characters interact with each other, while also being faithful to the Dungeons and Dragons mechanics that everybody really enjoys doing. So let's widen that a little bit. Let me get the text size. I think I normally run it on 300. Let's see. It's been a minute since I've had to do this. Yeah, there we go. So at this point in the story, we've met our party. We had our little cold open where they were being chased by goblins who were flying dragons. They were delivering some sort of crystal to the town of Greyhawk, which is adapted from the baseline D&D setting. We learned that Profion and the Empress are, like, they're all senators and they're trying to argue about equality and stuff. So we're having a little bit of the plots from the first movie come in. We're using some of the names, but for the most part, a lot of this is just original adaptation with some specific dress on it. So that way it's recognizable as a remake, because the goal was to make a remake. So I'm mostly doing this as a writing exercise. I don't expect this to go anywhere. I don't expect to sell this, because ultimately I'm putting this on screen, which makes it kind of a poison pill for anybody to purchase. But in this story, we have the crew of a skyship. They are going towards the unlocked tower of Mordenkainen. Now, Mordenkainen is a classic D&D character, but pretty much what you need to know is that they're going to a wizard tower. They're going to raid the wizard tower, and they're fighting against a bunch of people who are going there on the way. When I last left off, it has been a long time since I've worked on this. On page 38, the elf named Elm, because if you're going to do a D&D movie, it needs to be recognizable tropes, and elves generally have woody names. She comes up and she says, "Hey, we're being followed by a ship. You should come take a look at this." It's a cliche, admittedly, to have, I think the classic way of saying is like, you should see this. But, they're being followed by a small, sleek ship. And the issue that I was running into is that the transition to the action is not great. So, when last we left, Thanks. Keep an eye out. Shout if we need to take up stations. The Wanderlust shutters. Shutters. Crew is thrown off balance. No, not the crew. We're not seeing the crew. Dodd falls against the wheel. Elm gently sways with the motion of the ship. Elm, I think we should take up stations. uh, Interior, let's see. We're looking to do Skyship Engine Room, which I believe that is Fist of Bronze, the Warforged monk. Let's see. No. Man, it really has been a minute since I've done this. Fist of Bronze, Engine Room, cool. uh, Fist of Bronze, uh, what is it? Cox's head? Cox's head. Fist of Bronze. What was that? Helm over stone. Over. I mean, they have sending stones, so over stone. No, we're not gonna have Elm answer. We're gonna have interior skyship artillery. I think Marion is it the artillery? If I was doing this like as my own thing, let's see. Wanderlust guts. Cool. Good enough. One thing to keep in mind, and I'm going to try and do this now. We're going to use Wanderlust for every interior descriptor because you want everything to be as specific as possible for whoever makes the movie. Marion uses a wrench to tighten a steam belching pipe joint. Marion, whatever it was, it knocked a lay pipe loose. Exterior Wanderlust. No, we're not going to have exterior. Harlock. Harlock flips through their spell book. They find a spell and, with the proper gesture, seals the leaking lay pipe. Harlock. What does Harlock say? Based on the impact, I would say we're taking fire. Exterior Wanderlust helm. Dodd hauls the wheel, or Dodd grips the wheel. Hang tight. Things are gonna get bumpy. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty close to Firefly. I think tonally is what we're going for. Because I mean, Firefly is really close to what you want your party dynamics to be anyway, where everybody is like friendly and clearly part of the same crew, but you always have that question of like, how much can these people take of each other? So we're gonna say, Dodd hauls the wheel to the left. Exterior skies, sky, not skyship helm, not skyship helm. I'm using writer duet right now because it automatically formats your screenplay for you, which is normally great. I really like this program for that sort of thing. But the issue is that sometimes the keystrokes can be automated to the point where it gets in the way and is a little clunky. Exterior sky, the Wanderlust. I don't know why the text is blue there. Should be action. There we go. Wanderlust veers sharply to the see. Yeah, left. A smaller skyship screams after it. The exterior, smaller skyship. I'm not naming it anything because it's really just exists as like a. This is one of those encounters that your DM will throw in just to take up time, which is a really I don't know, could be a really interesting way to pace a screenplay. I like that there's a there's an exercise I like to take sometimes where I'm watching a movie and I try to imagine what, because I DM professionally sometimes and I LARP professionally sometimes, I will see what like the actions of the game might have been in place. Oh, when they do something, it's very fun for something like excuse me, John Wick or any other small group. Like Guardians of the Galaxy is gonna it would be a really easy one to do this for, where you try to imagine like what actions the DM would have said and how the player might have rolled in that situation. So I'm seeing a lot of like dexterity fumbles at the start when they're arguing over the orb and stuff, but exterior smaller skyship uh deck. A crew of other adventurers uh flies their sky skiff. We're gonna call it a sky skiff instead of a smaller sky ship because that's neat, and I think that's a neat thing to call things. That's why being a writer is so much fun, is because there's very little on your first draft. There's very little quality control by just definition, so you can do whatever the hell you want. There's a lot of freedom in it. um, it's when you do a second draft that you intend for people to read that you should really start like paying attention to word choice and stuff like that. I think I think you should be paying attention to word choice somewhat anyway, but and try to get it as close to good as you can. But really, a lot of the first draft is just getting stuff down so that way you have a strong foundation to build off of in your actual professional draft. Crew of others. We're not going to say, like, okay. A crew of other adventurers. Um, a rival captain. Let's see, what would be a fun thing to have on this ship? Maybe like a dragonborn captain in a long coat steers sky skiff. A rival gunner readies the sky skiff's uh arcane cannon. The what conduits along the arcane cannon's length light up. Exterior wan- wanderlust uh stern elm watches over the railing as the barrel of the cannon uh brightens. Elm, get her tumbling, Captain. Exterior wanderlust helm. Dodd rolls his eyes as he wrestles with the wheel. Dodd muttering, why don't you try this sometime then? Exterior sky. Screw it. Yeah, we're just doing exterior sky. Why not? It's not descriptive and it's probably not the best practice, but again, I am not an authority on this. I'm just, showing you that the first draft is going to be imperfect kind of by necessity. Like you're not going to publish your first draft and I don't think even professionals do that. But exterior sky, uh Wanderlust turns uh, completely over itself in a barrel roll. I'm just gonna say, listen, we're gonna okay. The Wanderlust does a uh, barrel roll. Exterior. Let's see. A beam of arcane energy sizzles through the space it used to occupy. Interior. Wanderlust guts. Marion and Harlock hold on tight as the interior of the ship rotates around them. Tools and any and free tools and unrestrained objects tumble around them. Uh, Marion, a little warning next time, eh? Interior Wanderlust engine room. Fist of bronze maintains his sure-footed stance as the interior of the as the ship rotates around him. Fist, fisty, fist of bronze. Humph. He's a golem. He can latch on. He might have some sort of magic magnet foot. I don't know. Like he's a warforged. You can kind of do whatever you want with him. It's fun because you got to have your like construct. Humph. All right. Let's see. We're gonna go back. Exterior sky. The Wanderlust straightens out. Its wings uh, fold closer to its hull as it increases speed. And we're gonna put in a descriptor up here. Fist of bronze pumps the engine bellows again. A pressure gauge needle creeps towards the red warning section. We're not going to put warning section because any text that appears on screen, we're going to do this in universe, and it's not going to be in English or in any sort of recognizable Earth numerals or letters. Creeps towards the red section. Uh, yeah, the sound, the rumble from the engine deepens. The Wanderlust straightens out. Its wings fold closer to its hull as it increases speed. Uh, let's see. Exterior Wanderlust helm. Dodd. Let's see. What is Dodd doing? He's got his hands on the wheel like that. He's increasing speed. Dodd looks. Does it have a rear view? Yeah, he just looks over his shoulder. Elm. Dodd looks over his shoulder at the approaching sky skiff. Dodd. Uh, they're still gaining. Don't burn her out. Fist. Uh, exterior Wanderlust. Stern. Elm stands on the railing, one hand on a rope, one one hand on a rope, her curved sword in the other. Her teeth are bared in anticipation as she watches the sky skiff approach. Elm. I say we. Okay, we need a name for a maneuver of where you would like be moving and you drop something. Let's see. Something like the Speedball special from Marvel. Something like or the Fastball special rather. Um like a tag team move. Um dropping mines, no. Dropping what seed drop? What's a tree term? Term for when a tree drops seeds. Let's see. Whirligig? We could use the term whirligig in a D&D script. Captain. Ah, I don't know. It kind of works. Deciduous means dropping of a part that's no longer needed or useful. Scatter seeds. Scatter seeds seems to, I don't know. I like whirligig. Captain. But getting closer. I say we attempt. No, and then not interior. What am I doing? God over stones because they're using sending stones. Whirligig, elm. I think there's until we find something better to call it. God over stones. Good enough for me. Everyone, uh, stand. Everyone, uh, what? Stay hunker down. Like I said, first draft. We're gonna go back and we're gonna make this ideally better. Whether we actually make it better is going to be a matter of debate, or if I ever actually do anything with this at all, because it's just a writing exercise. I mean, this doesn't need to be a question mark. Good enough for me. Everyone, prepare for whirligig. Uh, Interior, Wanderlust, Guts. Marion and Harlock fasten themselves to anchor points. Interior, Wanderlust engine room. Fist of Bronze places a hand on a lever. Exterior, Wanderlust stern. Elm's eyes narrow. She is focused on the sky skiff. Exterior, sky skiff deck. The rival captain leans forward over the sky skiff's wheel. He uh, increases he pushes the throttle forward. The sky skiff jumps ahead behind the Wanderlust. Exterior, Wanderlust helm. God. Now. Interior, Wanderlust engine room. Fist of Bronze. Thumbs open. I'm going to go back and I'm going to set up hand on a lever with a closed cap near the thumb. There we go. Fist of Bronze flips open the cap. Flips open the cap. Presses the revealed button and yanks the lever backwards. Exterior. Sky. The Wanderlust's engines fade and its wings flare open suddenly. Its speed decreases drastically. Exterior, Wanderlust stern. Elm. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, she's watching it because she's a predator. Elm crouches and okay. No, it needs to be a boost instead of a break. The idea was that originally they were going to put the brakes on the ship, and Elm was going to shoot back and just kind of slice through everybody on the other ship as it passed. But that doesn't make sense with physics. So I think she's just going to need to. No, yeah, sure it does because you want the ship to overtake him. Okay, and leaps off the stern upwards. Okay, its speed decreases drastically and it loses altitude. Crouches and leaps off the stern, sword out. Exterior sky skiff deck. The rival captain eyes widen and he drops his ship into a narrow dive to chase the wanderlust. Exterior sky. And we're gonna have some cool shots, why not? Elm soars through the air, turning with her sword out. The sky, no, Wanderlust falls away. Beneath her, the sky skiff looms ahead. Crew looms ahead. Exterior sky skiff deck. The crew of the sky skiff watch Elm approach, eyes wide in panic. Elm passes each of them midair, twirling her sword, catching each and every one perfectly to disable slash kill, but whatever, to uh, defeat, dispatch them. No, twirling the sword, catching the gunner, then the engineer, then the rival. And I'm not writing this. This is screenplays nowadays seem to have really, really strict standards on form, which is fine because with the number of screenplays being written regularly, you have to show that you know the format in order to actually sell something. Someone looks at your script and they see that your format's off, they're probably going to just pass on it out of hand just because they're like, this guy hasn't done their research. Uh, this guy isn't like, doesn't know what he's doing, something like that. So obviously this is not going to be the one to like sell first draft. It's going to be fixed at some point, which includes ensuring that this is a clear action scene, but because eventually it's going to be a slow motion shot of her just kind of like flying through, rotating in place, her sword kind of catching everybody as she passes them by. um then the rival and dispatches them with the force of her fall. Exterior sky. The crew disabled. Sky skiff falls to the or lists to the side and tilts to capsize. Elm spreads her arms and legs and uh, reaches the height of her arc. Then she uh, starts to fall. Exterior Wanderlust helm. God. God rolls his eyes. He hauls on the wheel to. He hauls on the wheel. The Wanderlust turns to intercept Elm's fall. God. She wasn't so good at it. God looks unimpressed. Starts to fall laughing because Elm's fucking crazy. I apologize for the language, but that's what we're doing now. Uh, intercept Elm's fall. Exterior, or no, interior. Wanderlust engine room. Fist of bronze flips the lever's cap closed. Fist of bronze. Based on the change in our course, I imagine Elm's uh, gambit was successful. Interior, Wanderlust guts. Harlock and Marion unclip themselves from the anchors. Marion. Uh, has it ever not? This way we can set up overconfidence as potentially being Elm's thing she's going to deal with later on. Wanderlust helm. God lines the Wanderlust up with Elm's ball. God. To self, so he's not talking into the sending stones. One of these days. Exterior, Wanderlust deck. The the deck tilts upward. Elm's boots slide down the deck, and she comes to a stop against the diagonal. What is it? Not the boathouse. Cabin? Okay. Parts of a ship labeled. Let's see. Thanks, Google. What are we looking at? Uh I didn't know on a video. That's weird. Okay. The bridge, duh. Okay. Well, whatever. Against the diagonal sloped bridge. It's pretty cool. You can put stuff like that in a you can put stuff like that in a screenplay if you're really going for tone, but for the most part it's up to the crew to make it cool. Elm. Uh I don't believe they will be a problem. There's something off about this pacing. Obviously, it's not obviously this rival crew is not going to be much of a threat to these heroes, but it's really important for people to feel like there is a chance they might not make it. So this is probably I mean, we're probably going to expand this in a future like edit session, probably. But for now, I think this is probably good, and it establishes Elm as kind of a badass and everybody working together. Well, Dodd does not like that she's super confident about what she can do. Um, and I think it's about 5 pages, 4.5 pages. We started on 38, and we're at 42 and a half right now. So I think I'm going to call it there, just so I don't wear my voice out too badly, and I don't burn through all this content. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. That is what it looks like to write a screenplay for an audience, obviously. Some people have been watching. I appreciate you hanging out there. Uh, I'm gonna take off. I think that has concluded this kind of writing session. But before I do, I should plug all of our stuff. Of course, Some Nobodies. You can look all of our stuff up if you search somenobodies.com or just put Some Nobodies into any kind of content platform, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever you like. Silicon Angel, CYOP.eal, Twitching Upstream normally. Talking Upstream, we've got some interviews lined up. We've got those episodes coming out on Sundays. We have a new show called PowerPoint Showdown where we give presentations we've never seen before on Thursdays. First episode drops in a few days. Check that out on YouTube. That's a video show. course, I got some Patreon folks to thank. Scott Curtis of Behind the Bits Podcast, Sarah Tkachuk, Tanya Sheck, East Coast Friends, Red Flanagan, appreciate the donations, Jeff Dwoskin, Michael Colby, of course, Zach Wiseman, my writing partner, my buddy, my brother. He couldn't be here today. He's dealing with some stuff. He's taking some time off. Cool. Not a problem talking here. Showing people how to write, kind of, or at least showing people what it looks like to put words on a draft. That concludes, I think, everything I have today. But yeah, check out Some Nobodies stuff. We like making things, and eventually we might make something like this. So see you when I see ya. Take it easy, drink some water, do some stuff. I don't know, go outside, have fun, get some sleep. Bye.